our meeting here. This is the pre-submittal meeting for the Kaupea subdivision phase 2 in the villages of Kaupea. Doing it by Teams meeting. Okay, very briefly, our scope of work is design and construction of infrastructure for a minimum of 60 single-family lots. We also will need in your infrastructure design the parcel for centralized mail delivery, including relocation of cluster mailboxes now serving the existing Kaupea subdivision. Currently, there are 3 locations on Kamaha Avenue for 326 addresses, so your mailbox area will need to include about roughly 400 mailboxes and parcel lockers. A couple of reasons for this relocation is that when we first designed the Kaupea subdivision, the U.S. Post Office was going through a transition of their own and stopping mail delivery to individual houses. And at the time, they wanted cluster mailboxes serving various numbers of select parcels, select pieces of the subdivision along the streets. We've since found that these are causing problems with the people living right next to the mailboxes with complaints of vandalism, loud talking and congregating near the mailboxes at night, as well as parking problems. At the same time, the post office is requesting more cluster partial mailboxes to, I guess, because of the increase in deliveries for Amazon and other e-tailers. So the proposed solution is to move all the mailboxes onto a single lot in the Kaupea phase 2 subdivision. This should also include a small parking area for people to pick up mail and for the U.S. Post Office to make deliveries. Also, there's a request from the Kaupea residents for a park recreation area. Originally, when they were made the offering for the original Kaupea subdivision, that parcel had been designated as a park area by the original HHFDC Villages of Kaupea plan. Since that time, the villages and HHFDC determined that there was sufficient park space in other areas of Village of Kaupea that this could now be developed as residential areas. So they were going to go out with a request for proposals for residential development themselves, but the last minute Hawaiian Home stepped in and asked for them to transfer it to us, sell it to us, so that we could develop more homesteads for our beneficiaries. So that transaction took place last year, December. We bought it from them, and now we're issuing the RFP to develop. Part of the agreement for HHFDC to sell the property to us was that the HHL install a new traffic signal at the corner of Kaupea Parkway and Poinako Street. That's the street right next to between the phase 2 and original phase 1 subdivisions. This is something the homesteaders also have been asking for. And along with design and construction of infrastructure, also development of housing units. The lots will be leased to eligible Native Hawaiians who will be awarded a 99-year residential lease from Department of Hawaiian Homelands for $1 a year. And these leases are extendable for another 100 years at the end of the original term. The project is being financed by Act 279, which I'm sure most of you are aware of. This was $600 million for Hawaiian Homelands to spend on reducing the wait list. Part of it was moving on with projects already underway, as well as acquiring new land and developing those. Some of you have responded to our previous RFP for offering lands to us, and we're going through that evaluation process now. One of the things about the Act 279 is we have a very limited amount of time to spend the money, or at least encumber it. The original version as written, Act 279, says we have to June 2025, but apparently there's a quirk in the appropriations process where technically we only have till June 2024 to encumber the money. So assuming that the 2024 number is the actual number, we're rushing to get RFPs out left and right and get contracts certified. So this is the parcel. Next to our existing Village 8, across the street from Malua High, which is Village 6 of Village of Kaupea, which is also Hawaiian Homelands, and next to the Kaupea High School. It's about a little over 9 acres. Some general requirements. Contrary to what we said in the RFP, this is not going to be general excise tax exempt. Reason being, we've been having some issues with HHFDC on how they qualify our projects for the tax exemption. And between that and also some bills in the legislature this year to have DHHL being the approving authority, we'll be accepting the prices with general excise tax included. And if we straighten things out, then we can back those numbers out later on in the development process. These will be subject to Department of Labor, Industrial Relations, and dividends based in prevailing wages in your construction. According to Section 103D 310, the Hawaii Revised Statutes, after proposals are received, DHHL shall verify through Hawaii Compliance Express that the developer is cleared for working with Hawaiian Homelands. If you're not registered with the HCE, you must individually submit certifications from the Department of Taxation, the Internal Revenue Service, the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, and the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. We're also subject to Section 103.55.6 regarding apprenticeship agreements. This is, of course, applicable to the construction bid and construction process. Same thing for Chapter 103B HRS regarding employment of state residents on construction projects. And there is no bid proposal, bid bond required for this solicitation. Going into some of the details, these are our desired house prices. It's a range based on previous house development projects and also based on current dollars. We know that construction will be a couple of years, maybe 3 years off, and so prices may change or will change. But for purposes of comparing proposals, apples to apples, we want everybody to use current prices. And as mentioned in the RFP, we will adjust for cost of living, cost of materials, cost of labor adjustments when it comes time to actually pricing the houses. More project-specific information. We do have funds in the DHHL Treasury that can make an interim construction loan available rather than the developer going out to a bank. We would make these loans at 0% interest with the intent that the sales price would be lowered accordingly. City and county zoning is now R3.5. We are not subject to the county zoning ordinances, and we will declare to the DPP that the project will be designed and built in accordance with R5 zoning standards. In other words, minimum 5,000 square foot lots. We have a ruling from Division of DCAB, which is regarding disabilities. They do not permit assessment of a surcharge to install options for accessibility. In other words, the house design should be either 100% compliant or adaptable so that when a beneficiary or their household need a disability accommodation, that the designs can be quickly modified and at not a substantial cost. You have to factor that into your overall pricing and prorate a contingency for these adaptabilities over the entire project. Recently, we've had maybe a 5 or 10% the number of disability accommodations required, and again, all of those had to be done without charge to the home buyer. Okay, scoring criteria. This is the scoring criteria that was published in the RFP, but in putting this slideshow together, I realized that we used the wrong set. This is for scoring house construction only, house development only. So I'll have to revise this to throw in designs and pricing of infrastructure. So that I'll include that in the addendum. Deadlines. Final deadlines for written inquiries is April 14th. I intend to submit offer also on April 14th, and we'll respond to those questions by April 20th, with proposals due on April 28th. And please deliver to our DHHL offices in Kaupea, Halekalanianaole. Any deliveries to any other address or receive late, unfortunately, we'll have to reject. There is no site inspection scheduled. The lot is wide open, no fences, gates, or other restrictions. You're welcome to drive out, inspect the land at your own convenience. And with that, we have questions submitted by one offer so far, or potential offer so far. Let me run through those and then I'll open the floor up to other questions. Regarding project overview and history, it appears that 65,000 square foot home sites, a mail center, and the park recreation area will not fit on the proposed site. Will DHHL entertain lots that are smaller than 5,000 square feet? No, we are going to stick to our proposed declaration to the DPP that will design to the R5 residential standards. Next part of that is that as the mail center will most likely eliminate at least one home site, can you explain the reasoning behind the relocation of the existing mailboxes? As mentioned before, the two problems that have arisen since the original Kaupea subdivision was designed and constructed were complaints by the neighbors as well as the need for additional parcel lockers. What is DHHL priority? A common area for mailboxes, a park recreation area, or more home sites? Basically, we're looking for the maximum number of houses which will accommodate all three components. Priority one being the lots and houses, priority two being the cluster mailboxes, and priority three, the recreation area. The third part, is there a draft layout? My answer is no. We're depending on your design team's experience and imagination for suggestions to us as how to lay it out. I might point out at this point that there are restrictions as to entry points, basically not off of Kaupea Parkway, and details are on the, I believe they're on the tax map. If not, they're on the land court map. And if they're not on the tax map, I'll distribute the tax map. I'm sorry, the land court map. Next question, is there a minimum number of desired owner builder or self-help lots? No, there isn't, but there is a potential issue with VOCA design guidelines and the approval process for that. So we're probably not be encouraging that. But you can also make that make a statement if you want to have them in your proposal. The final mix, of course, will come out just before lot selection when we have meetings with the developer and our contract and awards branch, who takes care of the awarding of lots. Next section of questions is regarding scope of work. Developer responsibilities with regard to Village of the Kaupea Association. The question is, will VOCA need to review and approve the construction plans? The answer is yes. Per the transfer agreement, when we received the lands from HHFDC, all construction on the property shall conform to the VOK design guidelines. DHHL shall submit site plans, house plans, and elevations, and plans for walls, fences, signs, lighting, and entry treatments, landscaping and irrigation to HHFDC or its designee for review for conformity with the VOCA design guidelines prior to construction of any improvements. Next part to that question was, please confirm that Exhibit Q, the VOCA design guidelines, is in effect. And yes, it is. That was actually an attachment to the transfer agreement. With regards to recording the subdivision at land court, will DHHL be willing to deregister the property, considering the extended time frame required to record a subdivision in the land court system? My response is yes. So that are the questions that we received from developers since we issued the RFP. I'll open up the floor to anyone to ask follow-up questions or other questions. Anyone? Dean, I see your hand raised.
Hey, Daryl, this is Paul Atase. It sounded
Yeah,
like
Paul.
you said your contracts branch is gonna issue leases to determine the unit mix. So, applicants are gonna be awarded lots before we determine the unit mix. Is that what you're stating?
Design or the I'm sorry. Contract and award branch is the entity that's responsible for conducting the lot offerings. So the developer will work with them um, to determine the house mix prior to the lot offerings. Generally, what we do is we sit down with the developer, see what the results were from previous offerings, number of high-end houses versus number of low-end houses, and generally the desires of the beneficiaries, and work out a final price mix for the lot offering. We'll also determine what houses will be plotted on each lot. And so going into the lot selection meeting, folks will know where each model house is within the subdivision and can choose appropriately. Of course, there's always the problem when the last few people in the selection line are not qualified for a particular model. To say there's a lot of 5 bedrooms left, but the folks can only qualify for 2 or 3 bedroom. They would then get put on a wait list or backup list, and the people that come after them in the rank order would be able to choose whatever's left over. So it is not a perfect solution. We have, I don't think we've ever come out with all the first 60 people, say, on the wait list, choosing the first 60 lots. We've always ended up with backup lists for whatever reason, but at least on Oahu anyway, we've never had a problem of not having enough buyers for lots. Did that answer your question?
Yes, but is DHHL then doing all the financial pre-qualification and for the applicants?
Yeah, the way the system would work, or the process would work, we would give the developer a list of the wait list people in rank order, and depending on the number of lots to be offered, it could be a portion of the list to a certain application date, or it could be the complete list. The first event would be an orientation meeting where we introduce the project to the beneficiaries, tell them where it is, what the houses are going to look like, what the price ranges are going to be, or what the prices for the individual models are going to be, offerings that could be selected, time schedule, and the process for getting qualified. The folks that are interested would then have probably anywhere between a month and 2 months to go to a lender, get themselves financially pre-qualified. They turn in the pre-qualification letters to our contract awards branch, who will then put together a list of pre-qualified beneficiaries who are then invited to the lot selection meeting. At the lot selection meeting, we again go through the basics and then call people up by their rank order. In other words, the order in which they had applied to Hawaiian homelands. Oldest application date being the first. We then go down through that list until all the lots are selected.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm still, Darryl, this is Craig.
Sure, Craig.
I'm still confused from what you were describing there. So are you saying DHHL is going to tell us what the unit mix should be?
We'll negotiate that. We won't, between your insights of the market and ours, we'll determine an appropriate mix of 2, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms.
Okay. And then I had a question on my experience with the 2 bedrooms is that as single family homes, those are very inefficient. When we did them over at Princess Kahanu way back when, but the economics are still the same. The price difference, the actual direct construction cost between a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom is very small. You're basically talking about what a bedroom is, let's say 10 by 8, 800 square feet, or 80 square, 8 by 10, yeah. Times that construction cost, and you're not talking about a $20,000, $20,000 difference in the actual direct construction cost. And then you have the inefficiencies of designing a floor plan that you can't spread that design cost out over very many homes. And then you're talking about is a monthly mortgage payment of, I don't know, maybe $20, $10, $20, And so the number of people that you're going to that are going to miss qualifying for a home between a 2 and a 3 is very, very small. And I'm wondering why the department keeps pressing for that. I mean, you're better off taking the money that you're going to lose on your design fees and just buying down the interest rate half a point, a quarter of a point, and that's going to end up being the same difference between a 3-bedroom. So is it still a requirement that you guys are asking for?
Yes, we would like to see that, and in all honesty, and Gentry will agree with me. The last project we did in East Kapolei 2, out of 140 lots or so, I think we had maybe 4 or 5 2-bedrooms. And again, these are designed for the guys right at the line of pre-qualifying or not pre-qualifying. And we're hoping that, those last couple of folks can at least get in and maybe enlarge their house later on as their finances allow. But we would like to at least give them that chance. So if out of, say, 60 or so Kaupea homes, yeah, there might be only 1 or 2, but we would like to at least give that opportunity.
Yeah, but for 1 or 2 homes, you're going to spend all the design costs. You know what I mean? That, if it might end up being that if you're only going to produce 1 or 2, the design costs do the 2-bedroom might end up actually being more than a 3-bedroom that you're spreading the design cost out over 20 homes, you know?
Okay, that is a good point. Stuart, do you want to jump in?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for your interest in this project. Daryl and I will have to possibly look and clarify these statements because anything that we say needs to be reduced in writing. And so I think all developers should look at the beneficiary survey which was done, and you can get an idea of what the waiting list or the needs analysis is like, and then base your proposal on that, as well as the economics of your proposed construction, because it would be the developers to propose the unit mix based on that survey or based on whatever information you might have. So we'll take a look at that again, and if we need to clarify anything, we would put it in writing and then we would issue it as an addendum.
Thanks, Stuart. I have a follow-up question, Daryl.
Go ahead.
So on the scoring criteria, how, cost is 25%, or is that you said that might be adjusted because you're going to have to include infrastructure or something? But my question is, the proposals have been a long time ago. They used to be done concept, and my question is on the pricing. How is the department going to take cost as a criteria and evaluate that against the quality of construction versus, because you might have something that has better materials, products, and whatnot in it, and that's going to be reflected in a higher cost, but then that gets you penalized. So are you saying, you want us to design cheap, homes that are, less expensive, bare minimum, the other thing is, you guys mitigating the reality of the cost, because in a previous RFP, there was a situation where a respondent lowballed his construction prices, received the award, and then later on had to come back and ask the department and the financing agencies for more funds. I think that, affected the scoring tremendously and could have created a different outcome. So I'm wondering if the department is considering that and how they're mitigating that.
Yeah, that's a fair question. And we will consider not the absolute cost, but the cost first versus the other proposed cost from other offerers. But we'll also look at the type of materials proposed in the some of the details that we're asking for in the in your proposal, things like roof warranties, for instance, or carpeting versus vinyl flooring. We'll take everything into consideration in that cost. In fact, we would probably count lower if it looks like the costs are unreasonably low. So yeah, we will try and take that into consideration in comparing the various proposals. Was that what you're looking for?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, we know where you're coming from. We
Yeah, I know
we
you
definitely
know.
don't want, yeah, we definitely don't want, a low ball score with consequences later on. We'll try to weed that out.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, Stuart, you want to add anything, any last remarks?
Thank you again for participating. There's some good questions. Daryl and I will look back. You know, this pre-proposal conference is being recorded, so we'll go back and listen to the basically the minutes and then adjust what we would have to do
Greg, put on
and
your
issue
shirt.
it as an addendum. Yeah, we still see you. Okay. But yeah, I think, you know, what would also help is if the questions which were posed, put it in writing, and that will help us be able to help respond. And so we look forward to your continued participation. Take note of the dates, and then we'll hopefully see you again.
Yeah, I noticed a hand up from Stafford Carr.
Hey,
Go ahead.
hey, Daryl, it's Kaloa.
Hey, Claw.
Sorry, I missed the boat on asking this question earlier, but I wanted to see if you guys could elaborate on how you envision this construction loan to function, like revolver, collateral, how much? What did you guys have in mind for this zero interest-free loan?
Yeah, we used that on our last East Copley 2 project with Gentry, and it was a revolving loan. The amount would be determined similar to the way you do a loan at a bank. In fact, between us and Gentry, we hired Bank of Hawaii to administer the loan for us. We put a lump sum into an account with Bank of Hawaii. They would look at the monthly drawdowns as they would a loan that was originating from them, and required monthly status reports, inspection reports from a third party. So it basically it worked basically the same as a revolving loan from a regular financial institution, except that again, this would not be a interest-bearing loan. You'd only pay back what you drew down.
Thanks, Daryl.
You're welcome. Any other last questions? If not, you do have a couple of weeks, 3 weeks to come up with any further questions, and we will respond by April 20th to any questions. And I'll be doing a addendum to memorialize this pre-proposal meeting. It should be out probably by the end of this week or early next week. Again, thank you all for joining us, and thank you for your interest in our project, and hope to talk to you later. Talk to you soon. Thank you.